Turkish troops have been shelling targets across the Syrian border since Saturday, an attempt to remove the Kurdish forces who control the area around Afrin. The YPG militias have played a crucial role in defeating the Islamic State group in Syria as part of an American-backed coalition, which also includes France and the UK. Now, Washington must perform a diplomatic balancing act between its two allies.
We fully understand Turkey's concerns about different terrorist organizations. We understand their concerns about the PKK. So we're having conversations with the Turkish government about addressing those concerns, but also trying to bring stability and encourage them to de-escalate tensions in that part.
Turkey believes the YPG to have links to the PKK, which they consider a terrorist organization. But alliances between Kurds and Western powers urging Ankara to halt the offensive. In a phone call with Recep Tayyip Erdogan, French President Emmanuel Macron
repeated France's preoccupation regarding the serious degradation of the humanitarian situation in Idlib and western Ghouta provinces, ensuring without delay that civilian populations have access to humanitarian aid must remain an absolute priority.
But de-escalation seems unlikely. Turkey says Western allies haven't delivered on their promises and vow to extend their operations, which could bring them close to areas where US troops are stationed.
For now, Afrin is the target, but in the future, we might also start operation in Minbic, also in eastern part of the Euphrates.
Donald Trump is set to speak with his Turkish counterpart on Wednesday. It remains to be seen if he will renege on his support for the Kurds or risk souring relations with a strong NATO ally.
Days, Syria's mountainous Basaya region has become the site of intense clashes, with the Kurdish YPG militia pitted against Turkey and its Syrian rebel allies. The ridge overlooks the city of Azzaz, which sits on the Syrian side of the Turkish border. We're just 3 kilometers from the front line of fighting here in the city of Azzaz. We're actually on the road that links Afrin to the Turkish border. The people you can see behind me checking vehicles there, they're members of the Free Syrian Army, backed, armed and trained by Ankara. Their job is essentially to make sure there are no YPG fighters infiltrating Turkey via this route.
God willing, it's our job to protect civilians both here and later on in the city of Afrin. The Kurds are our brothers. What we're fighting against are the separatist ambitions of the YPG and the PKK.
We left the day before yesterday. We fled the airstrikes with our children. Men from our village came to protect our houses.
Turkey has promised to bring Operation Olive Branch to a swift conclusion. Capturing Basaya would be a significant victory in the battle for Afrin.
The United States is increasingly at odds with a close ally. In a phone call today, President Trump urged Turkey's president to limit an assault on a Kurdish enclave in northern Syria or risk conflict with American forces. The U.S. supports the Kurds. Holly Williams reports tonight from the Syria-Turkey border.
These Kurdish fighters, America's closest partners in the battle against ISIS in Syria, are now facing off with Turkey, America's NATO ally. A deadly new front in the blood-soaked hills of northern Syria. The Turkish government is furious with the US for arming the Kurds in Syria. It says they're controlled by a Kurdish terror organization. The Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, fears weapons supplied by the US will end up being used against his country. And on Sunday, he sent tanks across the frontier. So far, limiting Turkey's attacks to Afrin, but threatening to do the same in Manbij, which could bring them close to American personnel. In Raqqa last year, then the so-called ISIS capital in Syria, we witnessed the Kurds fight bravely against the extremists, helping to drive them out of the city. The US has built bases on Kurdish-controlled territory and coordinated airstrikes. But the last straw for Turkey seems to have come this month, when the US announced they'd form a 30,000-strong border force. The US later backpedaled on the border force, with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson saying, quote, "Some people misspoke." But that's done little to mollify Turkey. Jeff.
Holly Williams, thank you.